The security guards shoved him into the dirt. "Get away from the gate, old man. The CEO is arriving soon," they laughed. But as the beggar slowly stood up and wiped the dust from his torn shirt, he reached into his pocket and pulled out the master key to the entire building. The security guards shoved him hard. The old man fell into the dirt beside the shining gate of Silvercrest Towers, his worn sandals scraping against the pavement. "Get away from the gate, old man." One guard barked, "The CEO is arriving soon." The other guard laughed loudly. "You think this is a charity center?" Office workers walking toward the glass building slowed down to watch. Some laughed, some shook their heads. The old man slowly pushed himself up, dust clinging to his torn shirt. His grey beard was messy. His clothes looked like they hadn't been washed in weeks. He looked like a man who had lost everything, but his eyes were calm, very calm. The first guard waved his baton. "Leave before we drag you out." The old man didn't argue. Instead, he reached slowly into his pocket and pulled out a master key card, the key that opened every door in the building. The guards stared. Then they burst into laughter. "Where did you steal that?" one guard said. "From the trash," the other added. At that moment, a tall man in an expensive suit walked toward the gate. It was Mr. Kohler Benson, the building manager. He stopped when he saw the scene. "What is going on here?" he asked sharply. "Just a stubborn beggar," a guard replied. The manager looked at the old man with disgust. "This building houses million-dollar companies," Benson said coldly, "not street beggars." He stepped closer. "You people think you can come anywhere and beg." The old man looked at him quietly. "May I enter the building?" he asked calmly. The manager laughed. Employees nearby joined in. "Enter." Benson scoffed. "You." He pointed toward the road. "Get out before I call the police." The old man slowly closed his hand around the key. But he didn't leave. Suddenly, a convoy of black luxury cars turned the corner. The guards straightened immediately. "The CEO is here," someone whispered. Employees rushed to the entrance. Everyone wanted to greet the mysterious new owner of the company. No one had ever seen him before. The cars stopped. The driver stepped out and opened the back door. Everyone leaned forward. But instead of greeting the crowd, the driver walked straight past them. He walked directly toward the beggar. Then he bowed slightly. "Sir," he said respectfully. "The board members are waiting upstairs." Silence exploded across the entrance. The guards froze. The manager's smile vanished. "What did he just say?" someone whispered. The old man looked at the driver. "Thank you," he replied calmly. Then he turned to the guards. "Perhaps now you can open the gate." The guards stood there in shock. The manager stepped forward quickly. "Wait. This must be a mistake," he said nervously. The old man didn't respond. Instead, he walked to the gate and inserted the master key. Click. The heavy glass doors unlocked. Gasps spread across the crowd. The beggar walked inside, as if he owned the building. Because he did. Inside the lobby, the receptionist nearly fainted. Mr. Adewale," she whispered. Employees behind him started murmuring. "Adewale, the billionaire investor." The manager's face turned pale. Daniel Adewale, the man who had secretly bought the entire company 3 months earlier. The mysterious billionaire no one had ever seen. The beggar stepped toward the elevators. The driver followed him respectfully. Behind them, the manager stood frozen. He suddenly remembered something. 2 weeks earlier, he had seen the same beggar sitting outside the building. He had ordered security to chase him away. Now his stomach tightened with fear. The executive boardroom was filled with nervous directors. They had been waiting for the arrival of their new boss. The door opened, and the beggar walked in. Gasps filled the room. One executive whispered, "This must be a joke." But the chairman immediately stood. "Mr. Daniel Adewale," he said respectfully. The beggar removed his worn coat. Underneath it was a perfectly tailored suit. The room fell silent. He took a seat at the head of the table. "I believe you were expecting someone different," he said calmly. Meanwhile, outside the boardroom, the manager paced nervously. Sweat rolled down his face. What if he reports what happened? He muttered. The two guards stood beside him. We were just doing our job, one said weakly. The elevator opened. A secretary stepped out. Mr. Benson, she said. The CEO wants to see you. The manager's heart dropped. The manager entered the boardroom slowly. The guards followed. Behind him, Daniel Adwell watched them. Quietly. Good morning, the billionaire said calmly. No. One answered. He leaned back in his chair. For the past 2 weeks, he continued, I have been visiting this building disguised as a beggar. Gasps filled the room. I wanted to see how people treat those they believe are powerless. His eyes moved toward the manager. And today I received my answer. The manager began trembling. Sir, I didn't know that. Adwell interrupted. Is exactly the problem. Daniel Adwell stood up. Slowly, this company has been losing money, he said. But money is not the biggest problem. He looked around the room. The biggest problem is character. The room was silent. He pointed gently toward the guards, cruelty. Then toward the manager, arrogance. Then he looked at the executives, and leadership that forgot humanity. He paused. That ends today. Daniel Adwell folded his hands. Starting this morning, he said calmly, we are rebuilding this company. The room held its breath. Security will receive training on respect and professionalism. The guards nodded nervously. The manager will undergo review. Mr. Benson lowered his head in shame. And every employee will remember something important. He looked directly at them. Never judge a person by their appearance. Silence filled the boardroom. Then Daniel Adwell delivered the final words. Because the beggar you laugh at today, he paused, may be your boss tomorrow. And in that moment, everyone in the room realized something they would never forget. The man they pushed into the dirt was the most powerful person in the building.